Brand consultant, advertising guru Suhel Seth joins us on our broadcast this evening, a personal friend of the Tharoors. Mr. Seth, your first reaction on Sunanda's death?
I think it's terrible. I don't know the reasons, but whatever happened has been for the worst. And I think, Rahul, as you would agree, at times like this, it's important not to conjecture on what happened, but to actually, express remorse on why it happened. And I think it's really, really sad. She was full of life. When I got the news, I'm in Jaipur for the Lit Fest. When I got the news, I couldn't believe it for at least half an hour. And I then called people to check, and everyone I called was in a state of disbelief because no one imagined that a person like Sunanda would take this step.
You'd attended several do's hosted by Sunanda. You attended several others where Sunanda and Shashi came together. Can you share with our viewers your sense of, your memory, your remembrance of this very vivacious, very energetic moment?
Well, the first time they came together was at my home publicly when I hosted a dinner for the British Chancellor, George Osborne. And they were recently in my house about 2 weeks ago. And there was nothing of any kind of dismay, suspicion, or whatever. And I genuinely believe that private matters should remain exactly that, private. I don't know what happened, what went wrong. I spoke to her day before yesterday. And, a lot of people have asked me, oh, was she fine? Was she unwell? Nothing of the sort. So it's taken all of us by shock, not surprise.
She also was possibly the most energetic and vivacious person around, a great host and someone full of energy, which leads several people to question what could have possibly pushed her to the brink, which would have led her to commit suicide, if at all this is suicide, which would have pushed her to such an extent that instead of just choosing to walk out of a bad marriage, she'd end up in this fashion.
You're absolutely right. She was the strongest woman I've known in this circle. She was a brilliant host, gregarious to a fault, always loved meeting people. I mean, she was the life of any party, in a real sense, not in a facetious sense. And I completely agree with you. She would be the last person I'd imagine who would commit suicide. But sometimes, Rahul, we always imagine things that we can't believe, and then we have to believe what we can't imagine. And that's what life is.
The Congress people that we've been speaking to, our correspondents report, are already worried about the political consequences of this for Shashi, for Congress, for Rahul, especially at a time when this was supposed to be Rahul's big day. He was supposed to be the big topic all over television. Don't you think it's much too early for the Congress to really at this time being worried about the political consequences of what we're seeing?
I couldn't agree with you more, Rahul, and I think you're one of the few anchors who said it. And I have to give you credit. This is not the time for political scoring. This is not the time for political brownie points. This is not the time for, scoring cheap jibes at each other for the BJP or for the Aam Aadmi to say, oh, look what's happened, or for the communists for that matter.
Your sense also of this raging debate about whether the social media is to blame, the responses that she got, and if you see her timeline or if you see the timeline of Meher Tarar, it's full of vicious tweets coming in from some anonymous people, some who are known, who are still targeting them. Do you feel that it's fair at any level to blame social media for what happened with Sunanda?
In an earlier television phono this evening, I said that Twitter has led to the decline of many and the demise of this lovely human being. And I've got slaughtered on Twitter, but I really don't care. The problem is when you put things out in the social media, you allow yourself to be susceptible to a greater public probity or greater public scrutiny. And I think the mistake that Sunanda made, which I told her day before yesterday when she spoke to me, was, whatever happens, don't put things of a private nature in a public domain. because people are unforgiving and people have agendas. Many people have agendas.
Sunanda Hussain Haqqani, who's a personal friend, says had spoken to her and said that the lack of privacy was bothering her, which is of course absolutely fair. But then the reality is it is Sunanda who put out all those posts in the public domain by making public the BBMs that were sent by, which were allegedly sent by this Pakistani journalist to Shashi, and she's the one who on Shashi's Twitter handle went out and made them public, sir.
In fact, day before yesterday, when she and I spoke, I told her, I said, listen, what you're doing is putting out, private matters in the public domain. They will attract a whole load of scrutiny, which is normal. But she, at that time, was obviously distressed for whatever reason. And Rahul, as you rightly said, when you put something out in the public domain, there is going to be greater scrutiny than you and I can imagine. There'll be a lot of comment, there'll be a lot of opinions, there'll be a lot of diatribe. And, Twitter is not exactly the most compassionate medium, and it's not intended to be. So, yes, but I don't think, even now, in my heart, I don't believe that Sunanda was so weak to be affected by, a diatribe on Twitter.
You are a part of the same social circuit that Sunanda and Shashi were a part of, and they've both been in broken marriages in the past. They're both strong people, independent personalities in their own right, and people would question why Sunanda didn't just walk out of, if she thought it was a bad marriage, why didn't she just walk out? Why was she still hanging around with Shashi Tharoor despite everything that she was telling her friends she had to go through?
Can I say this, much to everyone's popular consternation? I don't believe personally that Shashi and Sunanda were drifting apart as people would want them to be, or people would believe them to be. They were spotted in Dubai by some common friends 5 days ago, and there was genuine love, genuine affection. They were with me about 10 days or 15 days ago. So, for us to now assume, as you rightly say, the worst situation, to my mind, is a bit unfair. All I can say is this is not the time to post-mortem people's relationships, or for that matter, what they went through. This is a time to condole. This is a time to reflect whether, society, media, within media, social media, can create the kind of effect that makes people believe that they have nothing to live for, and then take this ultimate step of committing suicide.